Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise. My Asexual Life is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. So today's episode is all about how you discover you're asexual. And if you didn't already know, it's Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, which is to celebrate our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our difference within it. And I founded Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month in July 2017 when I published the printed version of this book. If you haven't yet got a copy of Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories, please go and grab a copy from Amazon or all good bookshops. I'm also the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, which is a autobiographical self-help handbook. See there? Superhero style. Look at Ace Fibro girl I am. Shh, don't tell anyone. So yes, I'm going to be reading from asexual perspectives, and we're going to discover how people found out they're asexual. And can you relate to any of these stories? My throat is a little bit sore today because I've done quite a lot of stuff, shall we say, a lot of stuff. Right. So, Kenneth's story. This is on page 65 if you have the book. So, how did you discover you are asexual? Kenneth said, I had an upsetting conversation with the guy I was dating at the time over my lack of sexual desire and began Googling to try to figure out if there was a word for how I felt. I found Avon, and after looking through the threads, felt a surge of relief. As I learned there were people who felt the same as me. I remember that feeling well. What's kind of funny was that I was searching the word asexual because I had finished watching the show Sirens, which had an asexual character, Voodoo. I remember liking her because I could relate to her. So for all you people out there that don't think there's any asexual characters ever, Kenneth proves you wrong in this book. You'll have to go and check out Sirens now, Voodoo, Google it. Well, not now, after the show. Right, so Dee's story. Now, Dee's, I want to say when she discovered it, or I should say when they discovered it, because they don't say their gender in this book, usually. So I will say when they discovered their asexual, and how, because they've linked the two together. So Dee said there are two answers to this question of when they first discovered they're asexual. When I was 19 to 20, I discovered that I didn't particularly enjoy sex and would prefer a relationship without sex. It wasn't until I was 23 that I associated what I was experiencing with the word asexual. I had thought asexual referred to someone who was uninterested in both sex and romance, and thus hadn't thought the term applied to me. Dee then went on to say how they discovered they're asexual. I will also answer this question twofold in parallel to the last. Realizing I wasn't interested in sex was kind of a steady process. I couldn't pinpoint the moment it happened. I always thought things would just click once I started having sex, which was first happening regularly at age 19. So this is an asexual that's had sex before. At some point, I confidently realized that I was having sex because it was expected or because I was curious and not because of a physical urge. Now, this is so important. I want to stop there for a minute because I had sex in the past because I thought I had to do that as part of a normal relationship. But I would have preferred to do things like the washing up, and I hate washing up. It's one of the worst things ever. I leave it for days, I'm being honest. I mean, it gives me pain because I have fibromyalgia. It hurts just standing up doing the washing up. But yes, you saw an eye roll there. I absolutely don't like it at all. I do have a necessity, not because I want to, but I buy paper plates, as you probably know from my food videos I upload, and tinfoil trays to put food in, so I have less washing up to do than the average person would. But yeah, I thought I was meant to have sex. I had to have sex. I didn't think there was anyone else like me, so I thought no one else could. I was going to say no one else could relate to me, but there was no one else I could relate to at that time. So I think it's interesting when this person actually realized that it wasn't a physical urge they had. And that's how I explain the fact that I have zero sexual attraction, but I do have some arousal. But my arousal is not aimed at anyone. It doesn't make me want to have sex because I don't get the need, urge, or want for sex. And just because I have arousal doesn't mean to say I want to do anything else but kissing and cuddling and stuff like that. I never get the urge for sex, and I didn't know consciously about that until I've discovered I'm asexual in 2014. It took me a while to understand my body. It took me a while to understand that arousal is not the same as sexual attraction. Arousal is a feeling in your genitalia, basically. And yes, it can be linked to someone. For some people who get sexual attraction, the two can go hand in hand. But for someone like me who's asexual, it's not aimed at anyone. It's just a feeling within myself and my body sometimes. I don't get it all the time, you know? In terms of discovering the label asexual as it applied to me, someone posted a comic on asexuality on Facebook for Asexuality Awareness Week, I should say. And I started doing more research. So they've left it there. So basically, yeah, they discovered the term asexual as it applied to them because someone's posted a comic on asexuality on Facebook. Yeah, so that's how they found out the term. This is all very interesting. You know, it's important that we have stories to relate to. I mean, like I said with Kenneth's, the relief I also felt when I discovered that I'm asexual and I discovered Avon. Avon is asexuality.org, which is the biggest online forum for asexuals. There's thousands of asexuals there. There are also non-asexuals there. And I felt that relief myself, and it was humongous. It was like life-changing, you know? When you discover there's thousands of people around the world that don't actually want, need, or like sex, you think, woohoo, thank God someone understands me, you know? About friggin' time. So, Joel, page 223 of Asexual Perspectives. How did you discover you're asexual? I was house sitting for a friend, trying to find something to watch on TV when I stumbled upon Asexual, a documentary about asexuality. The longer I watched, the more I had in common with the people featured in the movie. By the time it was over, I Googled Avon and never looked back. So another thing led to Avon. Adair Gearhart story, page 231. How did you discover you're asexual, Adair? I was attending a LGBTQA group when another member mentioned they were asexual. I asked them about it and what it meant. They explained to me, and all sorts of bells and whistles went off in my head. I had previously thought that maybe I was just gay, but since I hadn't come out yet, I was still trying to pretend to be heterosexual. I thought I just wasn't attracted to the gender I was forcing myself to have sex with. And my lack of experience with other genders was the explanation for my lack of desire. Now, I want to pick up on something. This person said, Adair, I was still trying to pretend to be heterosexual. I think it's quite common. There's a lot of asexuals who are pretending to be heterosexuals, either because they're scared to come out as asexual, or maybe they're in denial about being asexual themselves. They don't want to admit it to themselves fully, you know, and fully feel into it, as it were. But I thought I was heterosexual for years. I had no idea that my sexual orientation was different to other people's. I thought I'm just a heterosexual who doesn't really like sex and not that interested in it. Which, yeah, clearly I'm asexual, right? But I didn't know that back then. I didn't know anyone like me. I honestly thought I was the only one in the world, planet, and universe that didn't want, like, or need sex and would rather be doing other stuff. I never knew there was other people like me. So I came across Asexuality in 2014. South American Anonymous story, page 443. How did you discover you are asexual? I never felt any sexual desires towards any crush or icon I ever had, but I never really questioned it. I started questioning my gender and I found out I was not only asexual but repulsed by sex. I always found sex gross. I always found genitals disgusting. I find my genitals disgusting, and I always felt awkward when people talked about sex near me or tried to seduce me in that way. Now, I don't like genitals either. I am okay with my own, but then I don't really go examine it much down there very often. You know what I mean? Like, even if I do any masturbation, I'm not really so much looking at myself and feeling myself, if you know what I mean. But, I don't think there's anything wrong if you like your own genitalia. I mean, I think that's quite healthy act of self-love. And years ago, I would never even thought about masturbation, but now I see it as an act of self-love, whereas before I used to hate it and think it's disgusting. But I think genitals in general are very disgusting. I'm not interested in seeing other people's. And I get attracted to guys the most. I'm not attracted to women at all, so guys are where it's at for me. But let's face it, the male genitalia isn't great. If I had to see a gender naked, it would be guys because I'm only into guys. But I mean, the male genitalia just looks like a wizened sausage or something. You know what I mean? It's all wizened and ugh. I don't know why women are so obsessed with the male penis. I really don't. I don't see the appeal at all, personally. Even though I'm an asexual that has had sex in the past, I really don't understand. I'm like, really? Why do you like that so much? And if you can do stuff with yourself, you don't even need that. You know what I'm saying? How did you discover you were asexual to Juanita? Well, as soon as I started to feel I was healed enough from my last breakup, I started talking to friends and other singles. And I was shocked at how keen the other singles and all the people I know talk so excitedly about the thought of having sex. I wouldn't say I'm repulsed by it, but I certainly think it's a bit animalistic with someone I don't know. And I think I carry a lot of shame around the idea of having sex. Anyway, through my shock at how much the entire world is into having sex, and I'm not, I thought, shit, I must be different somehow. And maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe it's just who I am. So I Googled asexual just to see if I fitted the description. And lo and behold, there is an entire online community in existence of people who are really not into sex or who aren't really into sex either. And it just felt like a breath of fresh air. Yeah, I totally relate to that. I totally relate to the fact that it's just like shocking how much the world is into sex. When I go on a dating app, because I've lived a very asexual life since 2014 now, and I haven't had sex since 2011. And when I go on dating apps, I forget until I start talking to guys on there how sex obsessed people are. And I go on there and it's like, I don't understand why they're so obsessed with sex. I really don't get it. I mean, I could understand if masturbation never existed more, I could understand that. But it's like you can play with yourself, you can make yourself happy. Why do you need other people involved? I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird to me. And I don't think it's natural as such, you know what I mean? Not for asexuals like myself anyway, you know? I'm just not into it. And I do agree that it is a bit animalistic. I just love pure love, you know, like you see in the movies. I saw a movie earlier called Sneakerella, modern day take on Cinderella, but the main character was a guy instead of a girl. It was amazing, and he was a sneaker designer, shoe designer, in other words, and it was incredible. And I thought that's what I want, the pure love that you see, where they're kissing, they're in love, they want to be near each other, but there's no sex stuff going on whatsoever. Why can't life and love be more like that? I mean, that to me is pure love, not genitalia. I really don't understand why people associate sex and genitalia with love. I really don't get it. Not, I mean, obviously, I've had sex in the past, and I do understand heterosexual because I've been in heterosexual relationships for years. But from my own asexual perspective, I just don't get it. And you know, it is somewhat animalistic to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you love the person you're doing it with, helps a heck of a lot to not be so much like that. But you know what I mean? It's like an act. It's called a sex act for a reason. You know what I mean? It's like you're performing, you're putting on an act. Whereas true love, it's just like, I want to hold your hand and be with you because I love you. You know what I mean? So I do think, like this person Juanita does as well, that when you come to the asexual community, you breathe a huge sigh of relief. Like, thank God there are people like me in the world, because you stop feeling so broken, you stop feeling alone. You just feel such relief that you've now got a new lease of life, your asexual life, and it's like starting all over again, like being reborn again, if you like. It's amazing. And I wouldn't change being asexual for the world. I really love it. Even though it's really difficult for me to find a partner so far who can live without sex, I still feel blessed to be asexual. I'm still glad that I'm recorded 1% of the population. I'm still glad I'm different to other people. I'm still glad to be ace. And I love you all. What can you relate to? Which story can you relate to the most? Don't forget to grab a copy of Asexual Perspectives on Amazon. Type Asexual Perspectives into the search bar. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Waterstones, Blackwells, or even Walmart. And all good bookshops. Yeah, go and grab a copy of that now. And let's celebrate our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our differences within it. I'll see you soon on the next video or live stream. Lots of love. Take care. Don't forget this. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Share, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode. Lots of love to you. I always appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Bye.